The Great Escape, a bunch of flyboys dug tunnels under a Nazi camp with spoons, smuggled dirt in their pants, and outran the enemy on motorcycles. Why? Because no man wants to be caged or fed terrible food. These days, the real escape? Getting free of boring salads. That's why I made Newman's Own dressing. Like my olive oil and vinegar. Simple, zesty, made with real stuff, and every dime goes to charity. Call it a small rebellion at the dinner table.
Let the movie speak.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 5.
I believe so. 5.
Let's count them off.
The Hustler.
The Hustler, Breathless,
High and Low.
West Side Stories,
Then High and Low.
This is 5.
That's what I said.
We're almost halfway through.
We're almost halfway.
This 13 freaking juggernaut of a. Why did we do that?
13 except one is double, so actually 14.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We did that to ourselves.
You did that to us.
Well, I'm enjoying it so far.
No, I am too.
The 60s are nothing if not I don't know, there's a lot of different stuff going on. I feel like what I found, at least through the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it's more true the further you go, which is a stupid thing to say because, hey, the more people were making movies,
the more different they became.
More variety there is. But I don't know, it starts to really open up here. Today's movie is not a sterling example of divergence from the form.
No, and I think when I was looking at the ones we've already done, we've done some thoughtful films.
And just artsy stuff.
And artsy stuff. Yeah. And today we're breaking free of those.
What we're trying to say is this is not art.
This is pure entertainment.
Yeah.
Pop your popcorn.
Yeah, definitely. So it'll be an interesting conversation because in a way, it's easier to find like all these kind of weird, silly, interesting things to say about movies that are, I don't know, trying to be a lot. And this movie is definitely trying to be something more simple.
Yes.
More simple.
Yes.
So we haven't mentioned it in a while, but it's probably time to do it. If you are listening to the show and you enjoy the show, we appreciate it. We do. We love that you listen and care because we, most of the time we care about what we're doing here. Every once in a while, you might be able to feel that we don't, but most of the time we do. If you do enjoy the show, just subscribe on whatever your podcast platform is. And if you see a post on Instagram or Facebook or our YouTube channel, which you can just get all the audio. We are not on camera people.
No.
We will never be on camera people. So if you're waiting for that day, you should stop. But yeah, repost something. Tell someone you liked the show. That's how the internet works. I feel stupid saying it, but it's what we have to do if we want anyone else to listen. So there's that. The other thing I wanted to mention before we get into the real thick of it today is that you may have noticed so far through 5 episodes, we are guestless, which is not normal. Normally we like to try to get more people, but we decided to record these in a little bit more condensed fashion. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to get back in the swing of things.
Yes.
And screw the guests for now.
Can we not?
But I'm about ready, and I think you are too.
Yes, it's time. It is time for a guest.
It's time for a guest. So we have some guests coming up. I'm not going to tell you who they are yet, but we have at least one returning guest and some new guests that I'm pretty excited about. They will be here starting, I think, next week if all goes according to plan.
Good.
So you'll hear some new voices. It won't just be Annie and I prattling on about Muppet Batman and I don't know, whatever else.
Still confused why that was the clip you pulled.
Because it probably, I don't know, it made me chuckle. Okay, before we get to The Great Escape, the greatest film ever made, let's talk about what we watched this week. I'll go first.
Okay.
A while ago, I want to say the end of the 50s run, or maybe it was sometime in the dinner party. It's always great when we try to remember what episode we said a thing on. That is so fascinating.
It is. It's interesting.
Riveting. I mentioned that I rewatched The Grand Budapest Hotel.
We have spent quite a lot of time talking about Wes Anderson
then
movies.
we did a little Wes Anderson detour. I went to the movies and saw his new movie.
Oh, is it worth
The
it?
Phoenician Scheme. I loved it.
Really?
And I was kind of like not expect. I went in with a bad attitude.
Well, yes, you've had your little heart broken by Wes Anderson.
Yes. We all have stages in our life. We all have different phases we go through. And to me, the more I rewatched the Wes Andersons that I had, and then in conjunction, while I was like watching Grand Budapest again, I then saw Asteroid City right when it came out. And I just had the same reaction to both things, which is like, I loved this guy. I kind of like when I was starting to get into movies was like, oh, this is the cool, because you can't deny the aesthetics are insane.
Yeah, his visuals are extraordinary.
And like he's just singularly voiced. And so like, but then I went back and rewatched this stuff and I was like, yeah, but he has no feelings. And I hate that. Like as an older person with some more miles on the odometer, I'm like, yeah, but who cares if it looks pretty, if it doesn't say anything, or make me feel anything for that matter. The Phoenician Scheme is his newest film, and it is one of those big, giant cast lists that has, honestly, I was, even for a Wes Anderson movie, I was like, they cannot all be in this movie, but it is Benicio del Toro at the top, and it really is like his movie. This is a new actor to me, Mia Threppleton.
She is, that's Kate Winslet's daughter.
That makes some sense now that you say that. Okay. Michael Cera plays a pretty big part. And then you've got like the classic Wes Anderson where like there's a million people in it, but they kind of have one scene each.
Sure.
So Willem Dafoe, Bill Murray plays a little bit part. Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, a bunch of people you've seen. And I can't really tell you specifically why this worked for me, but it is a Wes Anderson movie. There are immaculate visuals. It is perplexingly geometric to look at, but the story and the direction is still him, where like his actors are never like flying off the handle or doing the super duper muted, like tiny thing. It's always kind of on that deadpan wavelength. The timing is what you know from his movies. I think it's just the story. Like the story kicked my butt. It was so good. Like it's about this guy who it's a bad dad story is all it is, right? To be completely spoiler free because it's still new and you might want to see it and whatever. Yeah. But it is, I think, semi-autobiographical. Okay. I've heard him mention that there's pieces of his father-in-law in this character who's like this super wealthy, like business tycoon in the early part of the 20th century, who was like always on the run, always being sued. The U.S. government was surveilling him, but he was like so smart, right? And but he also like ruined a lot of his relationships to make his money. So there's some of his father-in-law in that character. There's also some of him just at the core feeling like, where have I come up short as a dad? Sure. And so that stuff to me, just like, I don't know, I'm a dad. I guess that hit me where my some of my sore spots might be or whatever. And it like. It's got the giant cast. It is very globetrotty and like they go everywhere. It's very chapterized, like again, Wes Anderson. But because it's so focused on the dad and the daughter, I don't know, like even the kind of deadpan thing that I've complained about, right? Just in this case worked for me. It's that really grabbed me, and it is so freaking funny. Like, that's good. It is so funny.
It sounds like he's getting back to Royal Tenenbaums.
I think there's some of that in here.
Where really funny, and it's having more to do with parent-child relationships than romantic relationships. Because I think if we go back to like some of the ones that maybe we thought were a little drier, they kind of have a romantic relationship or a failed romance at the center of them.
That's definitely in there. And they get too heady for me.
And right, but it sounds like he's returning to some of the same content as Royal Tenenbaums.
This just as visually and geographically ambitious as it is, it just knows where the heart of the story is. And so like he puts those two at the center. They stay at the center. It is more violent than any Wes Anderson movie I've ever seen. And I think he's mentioned this in interviews. He's like, this is kind of a new thing for me. But holy cow, does he use it to an effect and like comedically violent. Right. Like go see the movie. I'll spoil one thing. Benicio del Toro is sitting in a plane in like the opening scene of this movie. And he's just sitting there reading a book and there's like a ticking sound and they both look around and then a bomb just like explodes in the back of the plane where this other guy is sitting against a wall and the top half of his body just flies off out into the sky. And so like that insane visual with the classic Wes Anderson, like don't overreact, be the straight man to end all straight men kind of thing. I don't know. It was firing on all cylinders. There's a basketball scene in this movie with Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston.
Oh.
Where they wear like old timey shorts and play basketball. I was one of like 8 people in the theater and I was dying laughing. I'm sure they hated me. So it's really funny. It's gorgeous to look at. It's really affecting.
Yeah.
And not because anyone's crying on screen.
Right.
Just because the storytelling is really good. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to make me rethink everything he's ever done.
Sure.
But I think you're right. I think like this movie feels like I'm going to try some new things, but I'm also going to like lean on the things that I know I've learned to do best.
Right.
Rather than like do Asteroid City where it's like, oh, it's existential. And that just felt so off key to me.
It was just kind of boring.
And boring.
Beautiful
and boring. Yeah, no, this isn't boring.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
That's good.
Beautiful and boring. Is that how you would describe what you watched this week?
No.
Okay, great.
Neither of those things.
It's not beautiful?
It was not beautiful. I mean, it wasn't ugly, but
not boring.
It was not beautiful and not boring. So I went back to a classic I missed because I was just the wrong age. This is a rated R movie that came out when I was 12, and my parents were never going to let me go see it.
Right.
And then by the time I was old enough, like it was...
You had passed it by.
It was like... Sure. Why would you go watch a 5-year-old movie? My Cousin Vinny.
Okay, yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. One, I think it's hilarious. It's rated R purely for language.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I was amused for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I was amused is because I think today, if you're getting a rated R, then the filmmaker is going to put in everything they can.
They have really weird benchmarks for ratings these days.
Yeah.
Like
and
you get one F-bomb
in
a PG-13 movie.
Sure.
If you go over 1, it's R. But you can use 1.
Yeah.
Which is just so weird. It's like, I'm sorry, we think that people up to 13 can handle 1. But if you said 2, their brains would explode.
Well, no, I think more what I meant was like if you know your movie is going to be R because
you're like, oh, we can get away with it.
Well, then we can get away with a ton of violence and, gratuitous sex or whatever.
Yeah.
Which in this movie you could have.
Yeah, it's like mobster adjacent.
Right.
Or whatever,
it's a trial, right? It's but they don't do any of it, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, My Cousin Vinny.
Yes.
Basically, I just knew this from clips of Marissa Tomei.
Yep.
Which is the point.
Right.
Like she absolutely steals this movie.
Won an Oscar for it?
Yeah. I think supporting actress, which is hard to do in a comedy. Hard to win an Oscar with a comedy.
But it doesn't happen anymore.
And one thing I hadn't remembered or never knew was that Ralph Macchio is in this.
I didn't even know
that. He is the kid falsely accused. So he's the kid on trial who they're trying to, save. But yes, thoroughly enjoyable popcorn movie.
Okay.
It was fun. It was great. It
kind of breezy.
It turned the air blue, but
if
you don't care about that.
Sure.
Yeah, breezy, fun, totally worth watching for Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei.
Okay. I'm going to watch it. I've always thought about watching that movie and then for some reason skipped it.
Well,
it was out of my cultural, like it was a little bit before my time. You were 12, which means I was about to be born?
Not born yet.
Yeah, about to be born. Yeah, so like...
Well, it came out in, it came out in 91.
My understanding of this movie and Marissa Tomei at all came from the Seinfeld episode where George is obsessed with Mr. Tomei and then he just runs into her in Central Park and she like says, yes, I'll go on a date with you. This is insane Seinfeld plotline. So anyway, speaking of unlikely things, what about escaping from a POW camp?
That sounds fun.
That sounds like fun. Okay, so this is The Great Escape, and the only background stuff that you probably care about, you might have more on this, Annie, than I do, but basically this is a hugely successful blockbustery popcorn movie of 1963. It's obviously a World War II story told roughly 20 years later. I don't know.
Right.
Is it 1947 in the story, maybe? I think that's...
No, because the war ended.
No, that's true.
45.
44. 43. I can't remember if it's an odd number.
So it covers about a year, and it covers from like spring of 43 to spring of 44.
Okay. Yeah, I was in the ballpark, except the war wasn't going on anymore. It was only nominated for one Oscar, which was editing.
Which is ironic.
Ironic, and also like beyond the irony of it being 3 hours long. It doesn't have any editing in it that I was like, ooh, snappy, interesting, cool.
No.
It just looks like a movie.
Yeah.
So there's that. It stars everyone.
Everyone who is a man.
Yeah, that's true. How many female characters? Let's count them.
None.
But let's count them.
There is not a single line of dialogue said by a woman.
This is a universe in which women don't exist.
Well, okay. So sometimes I find the lack of female characters annoying. Like
Right, sure.
even in The Hustler,
there's only one.
there's only one,
She's a sad
and they kill her.
sack. Yeah.
Right.
And
like
she dies.
in The Hustler.
Good movie, by the way.
They could have found a way to have more female voices.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing a World War II POW camp,
Now, what are you going to do?
there are no girls there.
There's no girls.
There's no girls.
Yep.
So you can't get mad at them.
Yeah. I think you might see a couple women when they're like running around town.
Well, yes, they have like
in the last bit,
extras.
but
They have extras in the background.
They don't even get to be like Chanel or halt or how do you say stop in French?
Arrête.
That. I don't get to say Okay. Do you have any other background? I mean, is it based on a true story?
It's based on a true story.
Yeah.
In fact, this was one of my beefs with this initially.
Give me a beef.
Is that like the first, I don't know what you call it, but like they put up some words at the beginning of the movie and it says
little,
like
preamble thing.
this is a true story and this is exactly how it happened. No, it's
It says
not.
It's a very confusing, it's a perplexing chunk of text because it says this is a true story, although the characters are composites of real men and time and place have been compressed. Every detail of the escape is the way it really happened, which is like it's saying this is completely true, but the details are not correct, but the details are correct.
Yeah. And so I haven't even watched this movie yet. And
Yes.
I see that and I'm like, every detail of the escape is the way it really happened. Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, first off,
Tell me about it because I almost on purpose didn't go read about the real thing.
Okay, here's where I feel a little bad.
Okay.
Like, this is a popcorn movie.
Sure.
This is a very entertaining
Yes.
popcorn movie. I don't want to just be negative about it the whole time. That's not what I want to do.
Or we can and just laugh about it.
Well, okay, so here we go. So this is a POW camp, and the Germans had a weird idea, and then they mock it in the movie. The POWs mock
This part's real.
This part's real.
Yeah.
Where they decided that they were going to take all of the POWs from all over like the Axis area, right? So the Brits, the Australians, the Americans, whoever else, the Russians, whoever else. And they were going to take all of the ones who were most prone to escape. Some of these guys have had like 15, 16, 17 escape attempts and put all of them in the same camp.
All the rotten eggs in one basket, as they say.
And they thought that was a good idea.
Which they call out in the movie.
Which they call it in the movie as being a dumb idea.
Which it pretty much is.
Which it is.
But not only that, but like if this is true, they made it kind of nice. Like it's not the worst POW camp.
No, I mean,
ever.
I think this is the other piece of it. So anyway, in reality, 600 POWs were involved in pulling this off.
Oh, okay.
With the intention of 200 escaping.
So do you think that's what that means? Although the character time and place have been compressed?
Well, I think in reality it took a year.
Humans have been compressed.
Humans.
Into fewer humans.
Now the number that actually escaped, 73.
That's pretty accurate.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
But what happened is there were some Americans involved in the early planning. But I think when they got close to the time of the escape, the Germans in charge figured out shenanigans and they decided that maybe putting all of the tricky tricksters in one camp was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So they took all of the Americans out and moved all of the Americans to a different camp.
Gotcha.
Which means there were no Americans.
Not a one Steve McQueen.
Not a Steve McQueen, not a James Garner.
Yeah.
Not the other American whose name I don't remember.
Is there another American?
There's three. I think there's three.
I thought that was just those two.
So they added Americans and the two leads are playing Americans playing Americans.
Right.
In order to please the audience.
There's some history clashing here. That's of note. I think we're alluding to the fact that there may be some tonal clashing from time to time.
Possibly.
Let's get into what we thought of the movie as a whole and what's it saying. Okay, so as you alluded to, that's the setup. The setup is put all the rotten eggs in one basket. This movie is like almost perfectly a 3-act structured thing. Every act is an hour, but it's like the first act is the planning and the prep and the getting ready to escape. And then the second chunk is executing the escape and getting those out who would get out. And then the last bit of the movie is what happened to the people who
after they escaped
did get out. So
yeah.
Let's just take it in 3 sections if we can. But like you get all the introductions pretty quickly.
Although you know, this is one of those movies like Gosford Park where it doesn't really matter. Like
which part?
Who's who?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get it. Like there's the basically they each have a job.
They each have a job.
One is the procurer, the scrounger, that's James Garner.
Yes.
One is, you know, in charge of tunneling, was in charge of false papers. One is, you know, they all have
building
their different
crap. One of them is
getting
Big X.
Yeah.
He's the master planner. It took me a hot minute. I mean, I knew Richard Attenborough was in this movie, but he doesn't enter for like the first 15. So I looked at his peepers, which are, man, we talked about the makeup in West Side Story. Really,
being terrible.
Yeah, especially noticeable, and it's easy to hate on because they're, you know, brown facing people, but also just kind of like super distractingly caked on there. It's apparent in this movie too. It didn't like bother me in that way, but it does have that same look. It has that same like we've done a couple black and whites, and like the difference between 60s black and white and color is like it's like it's very it's like
saturated.
It's a lot, yeah. But his eyes, Richard Attenborough's eyes are like the most piercing blue, and I saw them and I was like, oh yes, welcome to Jurassic Park. I know who you are, because that's what I know him from most. I mean, he was also in a pretty bad Miracle on 34th Street remake.
Yeah.
It's not good. Anyway, so let's just name off all the big guns. Steve McQueen, he is Hiltz, and he is so American.
Oh.
He's the most American.
I mean, the fact that he's not just like wearing American flag paraphernalia.
Yes. Well, at one point, he basically is playing a fife and marching around on the 4th of July.
He always has a baseball mitt and baseball, and so he is always escaping and getting caught.
Yes.
And they're always throwing him in solitary confinement.
In the cooler.
And he just spends his time throwing the ball against the wall. And I'm just saying, in what World War II, German solitary confinement,
would they let him keep the ball?
Would they let him keep, first off, how does he even have a baseball?
I don't know. Guys are pulling wire cutters out of their ears in this movie. Which, you know, some of that had to be going on.
Sure.
But there's things like he just carries the baseball glove under his armpit into the solitary confinement, which is, I agree, a bit perplexing.
Yes.
James Garner plays the other American. He's the scrounger.
I really liked his character in this movie.
He's fun He's a fun watch.
Well, he starts out as just being entertaining because he's James Garner.
Yes, he's fun to watch. He's also just like, I don't know, he's utilitarian, you know?
Well, he's actually like Steve McQueen does is go to jail.
Yes, he's much more off the cuff and impulsive.
Garner is useful, but also when we get to kind of the third act, Garner
gets
really, he has a more of an emotional arc.
Yeah. There's more there. Charles Bronson, I liked his performance too. He's the tunnel guy, Danny. And
the tunnel guy with claustrophobia.
Yes. Yes, which he doesn't admit until 2/3 of the way through the movie. Sure. So I like that storyline too. And then Donald Pleasance, another famous Brit playing the Blythe, who is forging the paperwork for them. I liked his performance. I don't have any complaints about the acting in this movie.
They're all fun.
Yeah.
And David McCallum. Yes. I love David McCallum. Now, for those of you who have ever watched NCIS with your parents or grandparents, he's Ducky.
Okay.
He's the Emmy in
I don't know
like
what that is.
250 episodes of NCIS with Mark Harmon.
Speaking of NCIS,
yes,
you brought me to a question I was going to ask earlier.
Sure.
There has to be a pantheon somewhere.
Yes.
It might be enshrined in brass or silvers or gold. It might be chiseled into granite. But somewhere there is a great list of the daddest movies that have ever existed.
And that's very high on
my question is this the daddest movie?
Oh.
This right here. Like, can you think of a more dad movie than The Great Escape? Like, honestly.
No, I mean, there's some others that belong in the same category.
What would you put up?
Like
what else would you put up?
Stagecoach.
Stagecoach, yeah. I think like, Oh, there's got to be a John Wayne Western. Which one of those would make the cut? Oh, you know what? Another one is The Quiet Man with John Wayne. That's one that, like, I can't imagine anyone but a dad being like, we should watch that. That's a reference all you cool young people will remember. Officer and a Gentleman. I feel
for
like
the slightly younger dad.
Slightly younger dad. Yeah. Some submarine movie.
Hunt
for Red October?
Yes.
Yeah. These are the dad movies.
They are.
This is
And most of them are, almost all of them have to do with war. Bridge over the River Kwai.
That's another one.
Most of them World War II.
Yeah. The Godfather. The Godfather's a dad movie. Great movie, right? Great movie, great story. I mean, would recommend.
Right.
But like your dad is the one who's like, you're old enough to watch The Godfather.
Yes. And I think in all of those movies put together, there are 4 significant female roles.
4 ladies.
Yes.
And they changed cinema forever. Okay, so let's get into the story a little bit here. They hatch the plan. It's they put all the rotten eggs in one basket. So all these guys have kind of a specialty, like you said. But Richard Attenborough's character is the one who says, okay, we're going to do it this way this time. We're all getting out. Every single one of us. Or 250 of them, I guess.
Isn't he the one who has had like the most escapes? And isn't he the one who gets like marched in alone, like when he enters the camp? Like everybody else arrives in trucks.
I think it's 17 for him.
And they're like, if you try this again, we're killing you. Like,
yeah,
we're not, like, you specifically
yeah,
are gonna die if you escape and get caught again.
Yeah, and so these are all different men from different countries, right? All fighting against
all the allies.
Yeah, all the ally countries.
Kind of the Commonwealth.
It's interesting when you mush them all together that they all just rank and file. You know, their militaries are all organized slightly differently or whatever, but he's at the top.
Yes.
Right? Clearly at the top. Let's take 2 seconds before we actually get into the escapee stuff. The Germans in this movie.
Okay. So
how are we gonna
I have strange
some
thoughts.
mixed feelings.
I have
on
some
this.
mixed feelings.
Yeah.
And there's kind of 2 categories.
Okay.
The first category is like, for any of you of a certain age who got, staying home sick, used to watch Hogan's Heroes. This is kind of the inspiration for Hogan's Heroes.
Sure.
Where it's like, pull one over on the silly Nazis.
Right.
And you talked about tone.
Yeah.
And I have read enough World War II history, European Front, World War II history, and memoirs to know about like just the utter evil and sadism that was going on in this war. And so then to have like, I don't know, this almost slapstick experience, like these guys, like they're living nicely in this camp, right? Like nobody's sick, nobody's tired, nobody's injured.
They don't have to do anything.
And they all just like sit around and talk about their plans. And I'm like, in what POW camp do you all just get to like hang out every afternoon and plant
potatoes
and like, but like they're like gathering to have conversations about how they're going to escape, and nobody tells them to stop it. I do know that the POW camps, especially for the Americans and the Brits and stuff, were at a more livable level than like the concentration camps. They weren't the same.
Right, of course.
And the movie tries to sell it. The movie tries to make the logic that this is a camp for Air Force, like the men in the camp are
they're flyboys.
And that the men running the camp are they're the Luftwaffe. And not the Gestapo and not the SS.
Yep.
And so they're trying to make this argument like the reason that these Germans who are running this POW camp are so nice and like have such a good attitude and aren't evil is because they're the Luftwaffe and they're not that bad.
Right.
And
it's a tough, I see what you're saying.
I'm like, really? Are we really saying that the guys who blitzed London aren't that bad?
I think it's a tough nut to crack because on the one hand, there are lots of depictions of Nazi characters. And hear me carefully now, people. Nazis are bad. However, there's a big difference between acknowledging a simple truth and just purely caricaturing people.
Right.
To an utterly dehumanizing level, right? All of the things and, by and large, the mob mentality that came along with wearing a swastika on your arm, those things are all real. But I just think about Indiana Jones, right? Where like, 20 years later, you're going to have Nazis used as villains in a way that like I'm totally fine with. But on the other hand, it's like, it is because everybody can just go punch them all you want. Right. And there is no humanity in those characters, right? Like they're like basically demonic, like creatures.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like, part of me is like, I want directors to depict reality like reality, but I also want directors to be bold enough to say these Nazis were people. And there's a very good chance that a lot of them were. I think what they try to do in this movie is say like, these are old military guys.
Yes.
They were in the military long before Hitler took over.
And that's very clearly stated.
Yeah. And so again, none of that is enough to excuse the blanket tone of they just kind of want to be buddies, and they want to use incentives to get these guys not to escape. They have guns and they're ready to shoot them if they cross the barbed wire, as we'll see. But it's more like you can garden, you can play cards,
you can have your choir.
You can have a choir, yes. And if you're busy doing these things, you won't escape. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of that happening. And so half the time that's happening, I'm like, this is kind of interesting. And half the time that's happening, I'm like,
they just make it look like summer camp for the first act. And
it's a little simple.
And I just want to be like,
this movie is striking a comedic tone right off the bat.
Oh, yes.
I mean, like the music is super iconic. You'll get it stuck in your head every day. Over the opening credits, I'm like, this is a fun, nice song.
Yes.
And then as soon as they're marching people into the POW camp, it feels strange. It feels strange to be listening to that like whistling jaunty thing. And like, by the way, if you go over there, we're going to blow your brains out.
And I don't think it's trying to be ironic. Like it's not.
No. It's trying to soften the blow.
It's trying to be like, hey, we know this is happening in a POW camp, but like, we're going to have fun.
It's going to be a romp.
Because these guys are fun.
Yes.
Anyway.
So I do think that it does have to contend with that throughout, sometimes not successfully. The look of this movie as soon as it starts is it's more glitzy than anything we've watched. It's more blockbustery, more like, I don't know. It feels more like a product.
I know what else I was going to say, and it kind of goes with that.
Yes.
Is that the real version of this camp was in Poland.
Okay.
But they built this in rural Germany.
The set?
Yeah. This entire thing is
this does not
shot
feel
in
like
Germany.
It needed to be shot on location.
No, I mean, in the third act, there's some beautiful shots of the Alps. They were really there.
Wow.
And I just thought that's an interesting choice.
That looks good.
They took the whole film, the whole production to Germany. And in the cast, you had two of the POWs, the actors, in real life, had been POWs under the Germans in real life. And two of the German actors had been POWs in Allied camps.
Wow.
And so all of those German actors are German actors, and a lot of them were veterans.
Huh.
And that's the other piece I find really interesting is that you have this movie set, and now we're 20-ish years on, but they are veterans of this war, and now they're in a movie together playing opposite. I don't know. There's just...
Yeah.
They brought back the real life Tunnel King to be an advisor on the film.
Interesting.
And they brought him in and they showed him the sets and what they had done and everything. And I'm going to misquote him, but basically they were like, does this look real? And he basically goes, well, it must, because I'm having flashbacks. I have to go.
Yeah.
Like he just had this really, PTSD
almost like
reaction.
He had PTSD.
Almost, but he's like, yeah, you got it right. I have to leave.
Interesting.
And
well, that goes with his character too, later on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blockbustery plot mechanics happening in this movie, and then every once in a while something's happening that I'm like, that right there is a little bit interesting. One of those things early on is the like, I don't know what he is. He's like the warden. That's not the right word. The Nazi who's in charge of the whole camp.
Right.
And you can tell that he's like not trying to do the like, I'm going to threaten you to death and intimidate you first and blah, blah, blah. He knows that these guys have tried to escape because if he were in their position, he would.
Right.
There's a little bit going on with him. Like that, if they centered the more human stuff on a character like him and not just give it to everybody. Like there's not like one officer walking around that's like, oh, well, he's the mean one that you should be scared of. They're all like just in German uniforms, but like could be other dudes. I like that stuff. And then the other characters, the Tunnel King has a really interesting arc where again you find out he's claustrophobic later on and he has a hard time getting out. Blythe goes blind.
Mm-hmm.
His story becomes interesting, and again, he's attached to James Garner's character. And then the last one is Ives, and we can talk about him because he departs stage left a little earlier than the rest.
Yeah, and I think that's the first note where you're like, "Oh, this isn't going to be pure comedy."
No, I mean,
and it happens hard.
Yes, the 4th of July sequence.
They're digging 3 tunnels, although
Tom, Dick, and Harry.
So this is something I didn't understand.
Yes.
So this is based on a book.
Yes.
Which wrote up the real story.
Gotcha.
And except that the book was very clear on the fact that it wasn't explaining everything. It wasn't giving away all of the secrets of this escape, because they didn't want to ruin it for people in that situation later. But it was published after the war. I'm a little confused. But so when the book came out, it says there was 3 tunnels, and that's what the movie says. In reality, there were 4.
Okay.
But nobody knew that until decades later.
Interesting.
So the Germans find one of the tunnels.
Right.
And
they're having a 4th of July celebration where they made some of the comedic stuff in this movie is successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it works. It's hard for it to work next to other things. Like other movies get this right though, honestly. So like they're drinking their moonshine that they make from potatoes. And there's a great moment where they try it for the first time and they go, "Whoa."
Yeah.
And then they each like in turn say, "Whoa."
It's good.
And so this 4th of July celebration is happening. They make a little fife and march around with a fake drum and pour booze for everyone. Everybody's having like a nice moment. And then that's when they discover the tunnel.
Right.
And Ives, who has done a couple mostly off-screen escape attempts, he's the one who they've planted the seed. He's starting to crack.
Well, and he's known as the mole.
Yes.
Because he was the original tunnel.
He a little guy.
Well, he little.
Yeah.
But also he has experience. So he was actually like the first main tunnel. He's not the tunnel king. That's somebody else's name. But he's in charge of the tunnels.
You're a tunnel man.
Yeah.
Cool.
He starts with that. And when he sees that all of the work he put into digging this tunnel is shot.
He takes the only way out that he knows.
He decides to end it all and runs for the barbed wire. And
yeah, that sucked. I mean, like that was a real bummer.
You go from these guys like marching around and the Americans and the Brits making jokes about the 4th of July, and it's very
jaunty.
Yes, that is the word.
Yes.
And then suddenly you just have this guy like making a run for the barbed wire and getting
stuck in it,
sliced up and
shot and
hanging by an arm, and
I think
shocking.
It's pretty effective. Good performance, and like I'm just happy that the movie isn't just all kicks and giggles, honestly, at that point. But I think we'll get to maybe a couple other instances where it feels like it tries to do that same thing again, where it's like happy and sad get smashed together, and it doesn't work as well. So can we skip to the night of the escape? Is
Sure.
that fine with you?
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff happens to build up to the actual we're going out tonight. It's the dark of the moon, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And then when they're actually finishing the tunnel to get up through the ground, they're supposed to be in the trees, but there's a couple more hurdles. I don't know if this is accurate or
it is accurate. They measured wrong and
bummer
came out like
20 feet short.
20 feet short. So they're coming out right in the middle of like the open grass on the other side of the barbed wire.
Yeah. So the tunnel's too short, and then there's an air raid, so the power goes out and they lose their lights, which is like both a blessing and a curse. And then eventually somebody stumbles after dozens of them get out. Somebody stumbles and makes a noise and sets off a chain reaction where like they do not get all 250 out.
No,
so,
they get I think 73 or 76, 73 out.
That is the first point where I was watching this movie where I was like, I am remembering this differently. I remember this movie being like, and then they all escaped.
Okay, so when we started this,
yes.
and I told you how many I had seen, I 100% believed I had seen this movie.
Okay.
And then I'm watching it, and I'm wondering if it's one of those things where
yes.
my dad watched it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just walked through the room.
Absorbed a little.
And because I have not seen this movie, and there's a couple things in my head, like one of the most famous things about this movie is, well, it's not, but Steve McQueen.
That's him.
Except it's his stunt double. Jumping the barbed wire.
Jumping the barbed wire.
I have a visual memory in my mind of what that looks like.
Tell me what it is, because
nothing to do with the movie.
Like not what you saw at all.
I don't know where I got this picture, because in my mind, he's jumping a ditch and he's coming straight at the camera. Like it.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No. And he certainly gets away in your visual image.
Of course.
Yes. No. That's what I was thinking watching the last third of this play out. So the 73 of them get out, and basically what you're watching, with the exception of, I don't know how many people you can count on one hand. It's like 4 of them, maybe.
7. Yeah, I'm going to go with 73 escaped. 3 of them made it back to England.
Right.
The rest were caught. 12 ended up going back. 12 or 14 ended up going back to the camp they came from.
Okay.
A handful of them ended up getting sent to other camps.
Oh, they spread them out this time.
A little bit.
Put a little rotten egg in every basket.
Some of them ended up getting sent to concentration camps and much worse places.
Sure.
And then 50 of them were executed.
Right. Which they talk about in the movie.
Yeah. At Hitler's, they don't say this in the movie, but in history, it was Hitler's orders.
Right.
Directly.
They say it like that guy I referenced before, the like top German guy of the camp, has to tell
the top British officer.
Yeah, the guy who's been there the whole time. He has to tell him like 50 of your men were shot, and he goes, "Okay, how many were injured?" And he just looks at him. Like, how many were injured? And he just says nothing. And so, you know, it's an interesting latter third, because I was really expecting it to be full Hollywood. All the guys who got out, they not only got away with it, but they somehow stopped the war themselves. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of ending I was expecting. But basically, systematically, they all get caught, other than the few that don't. What do you like about the last third? Because I mean, the motorcycle stuff is like kind of fun, but I don't need it.
It was honestly, because that had been talked up so much.
It's like 12 seconds long.
Well, literally, and like Steve McQueen gets caught.
Yeah.
And I just went, well, no, we haven't had the jump yet.
He did.
Like,
he did a jump.
I missed it because like it partly is because it's his stunt double.
Because you're on hour 2 minute 48 when that happens.
And like it's a long, it's shot from a long ways away. And I had in my mind this other setup. And I had to go back. I'm like, I missed the jump. Yep. I missed the jump. And then I found it and I was like, that's the jump.
Yeah.
Your question was what I liked. I loved James. So James, they go out in twos for the most part. They go out,
especially James Garner and Donald Pleasance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they are all paired up. Many of the pairs stay together. Some of them split. But because Donald Pleasance's character has gone blind, which was imagined for the movie. That wasn't true.
It feels imagined.
Yes,
he literally.
He goes from being the forger who could see every single little tiny detail.
There's probably
to just going blind.
If you go back and watch it again, which I'm not going to do, there's probably a couple moments where Donald Pleasance, who's a great actor, right? Like he blinks a little funny or looks left or right. He probably cues you a little bit.
Yeah.
But literally, what it feels like is I put this movie on at 3 p.m. I'd started it, but then I was getting through the bulk of it this afternoon. And he's been on screen for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then at hour 1 minute 45 or somewhere in there, he just goes, I'm completely blind. And I'm like, what? Wait, what?
Well, you get one picture from his view and everything goes blurry. And
that's not how people go blind.
No,
they don't just go blur.
No, it's so anyway, he's partnered with James Garner. They try to convince him not to go at all.
Yeah.
And then James Garner's like, I'll take care of him. I'll look after him.
It's sweet.
And I think that's my favorite part of this movie is because James Garner, he's just been playing
my favorite part of this movie.
He's just been himself, the same character he is in everything he ever does.
He's got the juice.
Watching him take care of this blind man as they escape is it's lovely.
It's good. Pleasance is really good too. I love the moment where they realize they're checking papers on the plane and they get to
on
the
back
train.
Yes.
Oh,
plane,
yes. Not
the planes later. Trains first.
Planes go vroom vroom in the sky. Trains go chugga chugga on the ground.
That's how we think of it.
Got it. They're in a train. People are checking the paperwork. He runs them to the back and he says, they're checking paperwork. We're going to jump. And he's like, okay, I'll give you He's like, okay, I'll give you a signal when we're going to jump. He's like, I'd rather you just give me a firm push.
Yes,
and then he does.
And I think it's because those two don't speak German.
Yes.
So like the other guys speak enough German that they can kind of get away with a small interaction with a ticket taker.
Yes, and you do get that one callback where the guy who's paired with Bartlett, Richard Attenborough's character, he tells another guy, like, don't make this mistake. Like, your German sounds very good. But then he says, like, he says it in English. Your German sounds very good. And he says, oh, I thank you. He's like, it's the easiest mistake to fall for. And that's how he ends up getting caught.
Right. Because the German, like, is about to let him go.
He says, afternoon.
And then he says, good luck.
Oh, yeah.
He says, good luck. And he turns back and goes, thanks.
And immediately, like,
and and then it's over for them.
Yes. So the last third of the movie is a bunch of people getting caught. Richard Attenborough's character seems like he's headed back to the camp, and then they're like, "Oh, you can get out and stretch your legs." And
Which
then, I knew. It feels like Richard Attenborough's character should know.
Yeah.
But he looks like when they pull the machine gun out, he looks like, "What are you doing?"
There is an element here, and again, I wish we knew this. Is that
please say it? Say what we don't know.
Honor. Like
sure.
military honor, where it was the Germans who were involved in killing these 50 POWs. They were called up on war crimes for this in particular.
Even though it was on Hitler's orders.
And they were assassinated.
Yep.
Like there's something, I think it was, 40 or 50 Germans were executed through the Nuremberg trials.
Yeah.
Or something similar for this exact thing happening.
Because it's there are all these etiquettes and honor.
Right. Well, the Geneva Convention, you're not allowed to just kill execute
prisoners of war. Yeah.
Prisoners of war, and that's what. So in the movie they're all slaughtered in one big pack. In reality, they were killed 2 or 3 here and there.
There are moments in this movie where I like forget about that reality, and I'm historically aware enough to know that that's a thing, but I don't know the details.
Right.
Like I don't know what the particulars are of prisoner of war etiquette. I know you're not supposed to, but like there are moments like Blythe and Henley steal the plane. The plane crashes and they get out of it and realize they're not quite to Switzerland. That moment sucks.
It does.
Anyway, blind Blythe runs up to the top of the hill, can't see the Nazis at the bottom that are there, and they shoot him. Yeah. He's fleeing, so that's probably a little less frowned upon than just guys in the back of your truck. But what's crazy is they shoot him, and Henley, James Garner, runs over to him and he waves his arms and he says, "Stop shooting."
Yeah, and they do.
Yes, and I think it's like one of those moments where you're like, yeah, because this is not the battlefield. You know, like what we're seeing in this movie. So it's a little weird to kind of get smacked by that fact every once in a while. Okay, and then this story ends with Steve McQueen. They do kind of a cutesy Hollywood bookending thing, with the baseball glove. Yeah, he gets sent back to the prison. I don't know. Steve McQueen is like a movie star. Sure, right? Like he's in the movie because he's nice looking face, got charisma, but honestly, like this is James Garner's movie. So to win or lose.
This is interesting. Yeah. So one of my notes here is McQueen was a tool. So,
on set.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of these guys, they were all hanging out together, having a great time, like building camaraderie, and they're all stuck out in the middle of the German countryside. Don't have a lot to do. So they're, a whole bunch of fun guys having fun together.
Get to know each other or go crazy.
Right. Yes. And so they're, they really are at summer camp. Right. Steve McQueen had his family with him, demanded his own little home, like in the mountains outside, and then demanded to be delivered to set every day in a limousine. So he had a private driver who was driving it back and forth. He didn't communicate with all the guys. Wow. He was upset that he didn't have a bigger role, which I actually kind of understand because
he's in and out of this thing.
And he demanded more. He was in it less.
Wow. Well, he does spend like 45% of the movie in solitary confinement.
Right. And so he did, he threw a little hissy fit and made all these demands. And
Steve, so rude, Steve.
Got some more time. But Steve McQueen gets top billing.
Yeah.
Garner earned about twice as much money.
Okay. So that all makes sense.
Steve McQueen got like $87,000 for this movie. Garner got $150,000.
Okay. Which is a lot back then, I'm sure.
And yeah, this is Garner. Garner should have the top billing as far as the role.
billing is weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Richard Attenborough is pretty much not known at this point. It's like one of his first, if not his first roles. I think he's pretty good in this too. So the baseball glove thing is what it ends this movie.
Right.
They put him back in the cooler and it ends on the sound of the ball going ka-thunk, 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 ka-thunk. So, and then it says dedicated to the 50 or something like that at the end. So I think before we get into the wrap up, I don't know if you'd be able to tell from listening to us talk about it if we hated it or loved it. I think that's where I sit with this thing. It's like well made enough. Some of the performances and moments are like really entertaining and fun, but I do think that like it is almost impossible to love it because of its punishing length and tonal iffiness at times. That's kind of where I feel.
So anyway, when this came out, United Artists, or the production company, were like, this movie is too long.
Right.
And in fact, the review that ran in the New York Times the week this was, the weekend this came out, also was like, this movie is too long.
Yes.
And so I don't know who it was, someone made a cut of it and like cut out a bunch of stuff in the prepping to dig the tunnel. And then they showed it again. And then the production people, anyway, whoever, the producers were like, well, now we can't understand it. Now it doesn't make sense. Here's my thing. I was begging for a montage as I was watching this. I enjoyed every scene of it.
Yeah.
Like, there was not a single scene that I thought this scene is boring.
Or this scene feels slow.
Right.
It's not that kind of movie.
All of it is enjoyable.
Yeah.
There's just too much of it.
Yeah.
It's like Thanksgiving dinner, if you like Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
Like every bit of this is good.
Just why did I put this on my
Why is there so much of it?
Yeah.
So I think that's my...
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing to like have on in the background when you're wrapping Christmas presents, as long as you don't mind.
With your dad.
Well, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, well, let's answer the fateful question, shall we? Is it worth your time? Well, how much time do you have? Because it's going to take a lot from you. That's kind of how I feel. We put this on the list thinking that's a movie people know, and
that's fun.
That might be fun.
I think we looked at the earlier ones and we're like, woof.
Yeah.
That's a lot of heavy French.
Heady, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of subtitles.
It's a lot of cigarette smoke and
let's do
bad
something
decisions,
fun and watch The Great Escape.
Yes, it's not fun, but sometimes it feels like it should be less fun. And 3 hours go by, and it does make me question. I don't know if it's worth your time. I think if you're interested in the story, it might be like...
Read the book.
Yeah, I don't know if the book is good.
I
but
don't
like
either.
Read about the thing that happened and be like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The thing that I heard about when I was doing a little bit of reading, contextual stuff, was that the escapes were the point. Like, historically, right? Like these guys trying over and over and over again, a lot of them, including the kind of like, I don't know, kind of like smirky Steve McQueen attitude of it, it is rooted in the reality of like the Germans were so busy trying to whack all these moles that they like couldn't win the war in some ways. So there is something like to the spine of the story, but it's not interested in that stuff.
Well, and some of them said like the purpose of trying to escape gave me a reason to stay alive.
Sure.
Like if I hadn't had that,
that's what you get from Attenborough at the end.
Right.
It's
if
like, I don't know why, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they needed purpose. They needed a plan in order to keep their minds and spirits going. Because they were there for 3 years total. Some of them. It's a long time to be in a prison camp.
So I don't know. I'm not a yes and I'm not a no. Yeah. Here's the deal. If you're a dad, this is worth your time, Dad. If you're not a dad, Annie, what do you think? Is it worth the time?
Well, you are a dad.
I know.
There's a part of me that can imagine just having this on in the background while I'm wrapping Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Except for then, like, the guy throws himself on the barbed wire and gets shot a bunch, right?
And you're like, have a holly jolly Christmas. Yeah, that's true. If it's just for fun, there's a few interruptions that are like, there's one point really late. I can't even remember. I think it's the engineer or the guy who builds the things. He gets shot in the back running through the street, and then it cuts. The next scene is
I was like, yes, that was harsh.
or whatever. And I was like,
but then those guys all get shot. Right?
I know, and I'm like, don't whistle now.
Don't do the happy whistle music. And that's the other thing is that like this time I watched it, thinking that the Great Escape meant that they all escaped greatly, and so I could enjoy all that like Hogan's Hero style nonsense at the beginning because I was like, we're having fun. And
we all know what's going to happen.
They're all going to go home.
Yes.
But now if I went back and watched it, knowing that almost all of those guys are going to die.
Yes.
Like, can I enjoy the japery at the beginning, knowing they're all going to die and they get shot at the end?
If this was a movie that was punching at a higher pay grade, we'd be like, this is subversive. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, it's so fun. And then the whole movie just pulls the rug out from under you. And you're like, no.
This is just trying to be popcorn.
It really is trying to capitalize on a real thing that happened. And that's why there's times when it's like, this is just a good popcorn movie.
Right.
And there's other times where it's like, this feels borderline gross.
Well, so there was a lot of response when this first came out that said this movie was being a mockery of the 50 who were killed and was disrespectful to them. And I get it.
I kind of get it.
I get it. I don't think that's what they're trying to do.
No, I think they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Well, I think they're trying to celebrate the wherewithal that these men had to do something pretty impressive. But
okay, so that was a long-winded. Is it worth your time? For me, would I rewatch this question? This is one of the very few movies that we've covered that falls into the category of never again. Like you really like, even though it's not like horrible will scar your brain from how bad it is. It's just fine.
Yeah.
You really, really like, you never ever need to put it on again and be like, it's time to rewatch The Great Escape. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really enjoyed seeing these actors.
Yeah.
Like we talked about James Garner, David McCallum. Like I've only ever seen him as an old man.
There you go.
So like seeing him as a young man, I really.
Yeah. Same thing with Attenborough.
Right. Enjoyed watching that. So I don't regret seeing it, but I think my expectations were just really different than what this turned out to be.
You wanted that motorcycle to jump right into the camera.
Right. Like
right into the camera.
I'm sorry, the jump is not that impressive.
All right, so this week we covered a very male-centric film.
So next week
we're going to depart from Steve McQueen on the motorcycle to Clint Eastwood on a horse.
Yeah.
There might even be a woman in this movie, but I don't remember.
Does she get a line?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all men everywhere. We'll see you next week with a special guest for A Fistful of Dollars. This will be our first Sergio Leone.
That's good.
Should be fun.
Bring your spaghetti.
Bring your spaghetti.
Let the movie speak.